Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about reflex activity. I'll give four examples of reflex activity. Then we will discuss about the definition of reflex activity. First example is when your hand is placed on a hot object, you will immediately withdraw your hand. So the response here is withdrawal of hand from the hot object. Second example is if you are smelling some irritant substance like a pepper powder or red chili powder, etc., you will immediately sneeze. So the sneezing is the second reflex response. Third example is when a doctor is tapping on your patellar tendon, you will immediately knee will be kicked out. So the response is kicking out of knee. Fourth example is when a sudden light is thrown into your eyes, you will suddenly blink or suddenly close your eyes. So the closing of eyes is the fourth example. So all these are reflex activities or response. So then the definition of response or what is the common thing in these four response is all are involuntary response. All take place without our consciousness. And it is a protective activity. It helps us from damages. So reflex response is defined as an involuntary response that occurs without our consciousness, and it is produced as a result of peripheral nerves stimulation, and it is a protective activity. So once more, reflex activity is defined as an involuntary response occurs with peripheral nervous stimulation, and it occurs without our consciousness, and it is a preventive or protective activity that help us from any damages in our body. Let me give the first example. First example, the stimuli is hot object and the response is withdrawal of our hand. So it takes place without our consciousness. It is an involuntary response. Here it prevents us or it helps us from any damages. Let me explain about the mechanism of the first example. So you just see here, this is a hot object, fire, and the hand touched on the fire. So the warmth receptor, which is Ruffini's end organ, gets stimulated. The Ruffini's end organ is the warmth receptor present on the hand. The Ruffini's end organ will transmit the sensory impulse to sensory neuron. Here it is in the red color. Sensory neuron is in red color. So the sensory neuron will carry this information to spinal cord. And this is a dorsal portion of spinal cord. Dorsal means what? It is the posterior portion of spinal cord. Through the dorsal portion, spinal sensory neuron will enter in the spinal cord. Then the green color is one interneuron or connector neuron or relay neuron. This interneuron ensure the communication between a sensory neuron and a motor neuron. Motor neuron is in blue color. So the interneuron or connector neuron ensure the communication between sensory neuron and a motor neuron. So here the information processing area is spinal cord only. At the same time, the sensory neuron will send an impulse to brain also. But the reflex activity won't wait for brain to give command. Why? if it is waiting for brain's command, it may take a few more milliseconds. During this time, the injury might happen. So, it doesn't wait for brain to give command. The information processing happens in the spinal cord, and spinal cord give motor information to the motor neuron, and this motor neuron will supply the effector or target organ. Here the target organ is the flexor muscles of hand, that is biceps muscles. So motor neuron gives stimuli to the biceps muscles, and biceps will contract. That will help our hand contraction, and so our hand is moved away from the hot objects. This is the mechanism of reflex activity. Then what is the importance of brain over here? Brain will get the information at this same time when the spinal cord receives it, but spinal cord or the reflex activity won't wait for brain to give command. Then what is the importance of brain over here? The brain can do two things. The brain assists in what had happened, or what is the mechanism, what had happened during this reflex activity, that will be understood by brain. Why this happened, that will be understood by brain. And the second one is brain will help in, or brain will plan the initial voluntary movement that occurs after involuntary response. So brain can do two things. Brain assists in understanding what had happened during reflex activity. Second thing, it plans the voluntary movement occurs after the involuntary response. So here in this case, in this example, brain will help in understanding why that hot object is placed over there, why your hand touched over there. So all these will be thought by brain only. Second, voluntary response is we will move our hand, we will move to a safe place. Or if it is a hot object, means we will move this hot object to a safe place. Those are known as the voluntary activities after the initial involuntary response. These two things will be done by our brain only. So this is the involvement of brain in reflex activity. Next is about the reflex arc. Reflex arc is the anatomical nervous pathway for a reflex to occur. Mainly there are 5 components in the reflex arc. First one is known as a skin. Receptor presence in the body. So receptor is the end organ which receives the stimuli. When it receives the stimuli, it will give information to the sensory neuron. Sensory neuron is otherwise known as afferent. A-F-F-E-R-E-N-T. So the sensory neuron will receive the stimuli, and the sensory neuron will go to the center, will go to the reflex center. Here in the reflex center, the information processing will happen. It can either be spinal cord or cerebral cortex, cerebellum, midbrain or medulla oblongata. So the reflex center is the one which can process the information or which can take the decision. Then in many of the reflex activity, the sensory neuron will go and connect with some interneuron or connector neuron or relay neuron. This is the green color portion. So the sensory neuron will communicate with the motor neuron with the help of interneuron, or interneuron ensure the communication of sensory neuron with motor neuron. In some of the reflex arc, the interneuron may not be present and the sensory neuron can go and directly synapse with the motor neuron. Some of the interneurons are excitatory in nature, some one are inhibitory in nature, that we will discuss later. So, after the processing of information, the motor neuron will get a motor impulse from the spinal cord, and the motor neuron will transmit this impulse to the effector organ. Effector organ is known as target organ. Effector organ is the place where the response of the reflex activity takes place. Here, there is another name of sensory neuron is efferent, A-F-F-E-R-E-N-T. Another name of interneuron is connector neuron or relay neuron. Another name of motor neuron is efferent, E-F-F-E-R-E-N-T, efferent neuron. So this is the reflex arc. So reflex arc is defined as an anatomical nervous pathway that is a part of, that is the main component of any type of reflex activity. Reflex arc consists of 5 components mainly. First one is a receptor. Receptor will give information to sensory or efferent neuron. The sensory neuron will go to spinal cord through the dorsal aspect of spinal cord. This is a dorsal portion of spinal cord and this is a ventral or anterior portion of spinal cord. This is a dorsal or posterior portion of spinal cord. Sensory neuron will always enter through the dorsal aspect of spinal cord and motor neuron will leave the spinal cord in the ventral portion. So, sensory neuron will carry information to dorsal aspect of spinal cord where it can go and synapse with the motor neuron directly, or sometimes there may be some interneurons are there. So, sensory neurons will give impulse to the motor neuron and information processing will happen in spinal cord, and the motor neuron will carry the motor impulse to the effector or target organ where the response activity happens. So this is reflex arc. Next we will discuss about the classification of reflex. First classification is inborn reflex or acquired reflex. Inborn or acquired reflex. So inborn reflex is otherwise known as natural reflex or unconditioned reflex. Inborn reflex or natural reflex or unconditioned reflex. So this reflex occurs since the time of birth and it doesn't need any previous learning or training or conditioning. One example is when a drop of honey is placed on a newborn baby's mouth, it suddenly starts salivating. Why? The newborn baby doesn't know about the taste of honey, still salivation starts. This is an example of inborn reflex. One more example, if you happen to touch a hot object, you will immediately withdraw your hand. These two examples are there for the inborn reflex. So it is a natural reflex and it doesn't need any previous learning. It will occur from the time of birth. Next is the acquired reflex. So acquired reflex is known as conditioned reflex. So one example of acquired reflex is if you are hearing about the delicious food, if you are seeing some delicious food, if you are thinking about some delicious food, suddenly salivation will start, right? So this is an example for acquired reflex. So acquired reflex will be acquired during the lifespan of a person. It needs previous conditioning or previous training. So here in this example, just about the thinking will make you salivate. But here the thing is, you already know about the taste of food. So when you are hearing about that name of food, you will think about its taste once you tasted it. So you are thinking about the taste of food that makes you salivate. That is an example of acquired reflex. And the mechanism of this conditioning, mechanism of this training, we will discuss in another chapter known as conditioned reflex. In that chapter, we will discuss about the mechanism, how this training will happen. One more example for the acquired reflex is the Pavlov's dog experiment, dog bell experiment. You might have studied in the 12th PUC syllabus, but the same thing I will explain during the conditioning reflex. Pavlov's dog bell experiment. So these are the two first classification of inborn, first classification of reflex activity. Inborn reflex activity and the acquired reflex activity. Next classification is depending upon the situation of sender, situation of reflex sender. So depending upon the situation, the information processing can happen in cerebellar area. Those reflex are known as cerebellar reflex. It can take place in spinal cord level. It is known as spinal reflex. It can happen in the cerebral cortex level. It is known as cortical reflex. It can happen in midbrain. Those reflex are known as midbrain reflex. If it happens in medulla oblongata, its name is bulbar reflex. B-U-L-B-A-R, bulbar reflex. So this is another classification of reflex activity. Muscles, main extensor of thigh region. So when it is excited, when this quadriceps muscle gets when the quadriceps muscles get excited from a motor neuron, what will happen? The extension will happen. The extension will results in kicking out of leg, or you are moving the leg, you are extending your leg. Truly speaking, there are no monosynaptic reflex because all reflex can involve more than one synapse. But for the sake of examination, this can be taken as one type of monosynaptic reflex. One more point is there. Here actually it is not a true reflex because voluntarily you can control the reflex. That is, brain also will give information to patellar reflex. But for the sake of examination, monosynaptic reflex example is stretched reflex. Stretched reflex example is patellar reflex. Let me explain once more. You are hitting patellar tendon. Patellar tendon is connected with the muscle spindle. Muscle spindle is sensory receptor. It is made up of intrafusal fibers covered by a connective tissue capsule. Connective tissue capsule is joined with the extrafusal fibers. The extrafusal muscle fiber starts from the tendon of a muscle. So when you hit the patellar tendon, the extrafusal fibers are stretched. The stretching of extrafusal fibers will stretch the intrafusal fibers in the muscle spindle. These are innervated by sensory neuron. The sensory neuron will give information to the spinal cord. Spinal cord information processing area give motor impulse to motor neuron. The motor neuron will go and supply the effector organ, which is the quadriceps muscles. Quadriceps muscle is the extensor muscle. So when it get excited, extension of knee happen, or kicking out of leg will happen. This is the mechanism of monosynaptic paradox. So example is withdrawal reflex or flexor reflex. So we have already discussed about the three classification. First classification is depending upon the sender. Second classification is inborn or acquired reflex. Third classification is based on the number of synapse. Next, about the somatic or visceral reflex. Somatic reflex or visceral reflex. The somatic reflex involve the somatic nerves which supply to the skeletal muscle. Visceral reflex or autonomic reflex involve the autonomic nerve fibers which supply to the smooth muscles of visceral organ. So in most of the instances, the sensory component of reflex arc in both these reflexes will be same. The sensory neuron or the receptor side will be same in most of the instances, but only in few instances it may vary. But the motor component of the reflex arc have differences. So first difference is, this is a somatic efferent pathway. Here the supply or the effector organ is a skeletal muscle. In case of autonomic or visceral reflex, this supply organ, the target organ is a smooth muscle of visceral organs, smooth muscle of GIT, cardiac muscle, etc. Second difference is, in case of somatic efferent pathway, the motor neuron is, motor component of reflex arc is a somatic nerve. The somatic nerve we have already discussed. Somatic nerves are the nerves which supply to the skeletal muscles and which helps in the voluntary movement of limb. Voluntary movement like a flexion, extension, etc. will be done with the help of this somatic nerves only. Whereas in autonomic pathway, the target is smooth muscles and the motor component of this reflex arc is formed by autonomic nerve fiber. Autonomic nerve fibers are preganglionic fiber and postganglionic fiber. There will be a ganglia in between preganglionic and postganglionic. Here this is the preganglionic fiber, this one is the postganglionic fiber. The more detailed information I will give during the autonomic nervous system, ANS class. So this is the difference of somatic or visceral reflex. In case of somatic reflex, the motor component of the reflex arc is formed by a somatic nerve. In case of autonomic reflex, this component is formed by autonomic nerves, and in case of somatic reflex, the effector organ is a skeletal muscle, and in case of autonomic reflex, the effector organ is a smooth muscles. So this is the difference of somatic or visceral reflex. The heart rate changes, the cardiac contraction, so all are type of autonomic reflexes only. Whereas the flexion of arm, extension of arm can be taken as the somatic reflex. This type of reflexes, protective reflex and anti-gravity